Hey, everybody. Welcome to Functional Yoga Medicine Podcast with me, Dr. Connie. So, today I want to talk to you guys about the importance of quality yoga teacher training. And because these days in yoga studios all around, there are more yoga teachers. There are a dime a dozen yoga teachers. So, it's important to set yourself apart. And my program and what we service at our center is more of expertise skills in really helping our clients and our students really recover from both internal as well as external physical practice of yoga or dysfunctions that they might be really nurturing. And we want them to have a healing experience in our yoga classes. And if you are looking for new and innovative ways to have an impact in the lives that you serve, you likely have considered various certifications, especially yoga, to add to whatever it is that you do, especially if you're a physician's assistant, functional medical practitioner, a medical doctor, or even a nutritionist or a physical therapist. It's a good combination to have because a lot of people are flocking to yoga classes and expert teachers are really, really necessary. And there is a significant need, especially right now, because we all have poor posture habits. We don't know where alignment is. And most of the yoga teachings or anything that you see, they're geared more towards the poses themselves, or they're very spiritual without the regard to the body and the physiology and anatomy. There's no grounding, expertise, knowledge on how the body functions and the dysfunctions that might go along with certain disease processes, which most of the people walking around have certain types of postural dysfunctions, compensatory patterns. And these are common things that we see because of so much stress lately in the world. And so we're all inflamed to a certain degree. But did you know that not all yoga teacher training or certification programs prepare you to become the best teacher you can be? I can tell you that my personal experience in my over 500 hours of training, I've gotten barely any anatomical knowledge. There was a lot of yogic philosophy, psychology, and maybe some theoretical concepts and wisdoms that I gained in the yogic philosophy. But there was a lot of dogmatic practices. You get deep into the yoga nidra or the kundalini yoga. And then there was the Bikram yoga, and then Ashtanga based yoga, and then the yin and the yang, whatever the yoga practice or Iyengar practice, what have you. All these forms of practice are great, but you have to really, at the end of the day, teach your students how to move in their own bodies and understand their physiological and anatomical limitations as well as their potential. But it has to be done with their awareness for how their joints are meant to move. And you can't do that without proper anatomical knowledge. And this is a responsibility that you must be willing to take on, especially if you want to do good for the populace. And you have to be seeking more and more knowledge. And so really be selective, because I can tell you, I've met so many yoga teachers that lack the confidence to teach because they didn't feel the program provided enough in-depth training of the human body to lead a class safely. And repetitive injuries and strains and sprains that happen over time, the micro tears in the body, that can be very injurious. I know from my personal experience, as well as from being a physical therapist for over 20 years. Especially, like I mentioned, in our modern world today, there are many presumably healthy individuals who are flocking to yoga classes to feel healthier, only to find themselves get injured in class over time. They get intimidated by the flexibility that's required, but nothing's required of you. If led by a good expert class, the expertise and the levels of the practice should be built into the class that they teach, or you can opt to work with them one-on-one to teach you how to go slow to prep your body and prime it so that you can have a safe experience throughout the life of your yoga experience. Because really the way we define yoga is Y stands for your, O stands for opportunity, and G stands for growth, and A stands for awareness. So your opportunity for growth and awareness. That's what the experience should bring. And here's the statistics. According to the US Consumer Product Safety Commission, there were more than 34,000 yoga-related injuries treated in doctors' offices, clinics, and emergency rooms in 2019. So common yoga injuries include repetitive strain and overstretching of the neck, shoulders, spine, legs, and knees. And that can lead to injuries that can be debilitating. And such micro injuries that occur in yoga class occurs due to compensatory movement patterns, like I said, poor posture and alignment, and poor awareness, and strain and sprains that can lead to serious injuries. And this is a real risk in such cases. And I believe the teacher's role in such classes is to safely challenge students through the experience of yoga, your opportunity for growth and awareness, right? And so remember, yoga is a practice for individual. It's not to look a certain way. It's not to achieve a certain way. To have goals is a great thing. What's more important is to understand what your body is telling you, or receptively reading into the physiological signals that your body is giving you. Because sensory wise, it is giving you signals, whether it be pain, discomfort, stretchy sensation. But in the competitive nature of the class, or if you're competitive in class and you want to push your boundaries to look a certain way because you're competing with the person next to you, or you want to look like the teacher that's performing it, and you overstretch something, it just takes that one mistake for you to really snap something out of its place. And physiologically, to heal from those injuries, it doesn't happen just in one try. It's the repetitive nature. It's the the overlap of all the years of repetition and strains that exists in the body. And then it's the final straw that broke the camel's back, right? So most patients are puzzled when they're really, really hurt because they think they're invincible, but it was a weak link in the body. Because there's always the chain of commands, there's lever arms, there's certain arthrokinematics that you have to respect, but not all yogis, especially teachers that are even expert teachers that have advanced practice themselves, they're really, really contorting their body in ways they should not, because they're physiologically limited, or they're prematurely going forward, but they're having compensation in other areas to make that pose a possibility. And when you do that over time, it can be too much strain in one area of the body. You want the physics to apply to where it's advantageous for your body to absorb the shock and to absorb the weight. And really the laws of physics do apply in the practice of yoga. So you can't overlook that. Remember, yoga is a practice about honoring your human body and its capabilities. Challenging is good, understanding the possibilities, but you have to understand its limitations. You have to understand to go fast is to go slow and become aware. And growth can only happen when you're able to be aware and grow from that place of awareness, honoring your body. And remember, the focus isn't so much about other people in the class. It's the third eye, which is the focus in you and your body, acknowledging this amazing practice and the experience that it's bringing you, and having that healing effect means you have to really center yourself to your own self. Know the practice is only for you. Remember, we talk a lot about the bandhas and the energy locks in yoga, and that's nothing other than muscle contractions in different areas of the body that provides for stability and the balance in that moment. So you stay focused and locked in to the benefit of the pose. And this goes right into muscle activation. Cannot use flexibility to compensate for strength and stability. because all those components, stability, flexibility, power, and strength, are all required to really build the resilience and really the endurance, as well as proprioception and balance in the neurological system to have muscle memory. And you don't want to have faulty postures and patterns that really get activated, because that become the habit to really prime your body for injury. And that's not what you want at all. But this is being done all over the place, all the time in yoga classes, especially those of you who practice at home. So make sure you listen to those cues. And alignment and posture. How are you supposed to be aligned, right? You have to sit up tall. The spine should be nice and erect, shoulders down and pulled down and back. And really the shoulders should line up with your ears. The shoulders should line up with your hips. Hips should line up with your ankles. And there should be an alignment. When you bend the knees, understand the knee is really it bends only one way, right? It bends and flexes, right? Extends, flexes and extends, right? It's a hinge joint, and only the hip and the shoulder joints are ball and socket. So we can move all around, but the implications of moving to allow contractions in one aspect. But when you contract, like biceps, when I contract the biceps, the triceps has to allow to lengthen and relax to allow the biceps to contract, right? And when we're doing handstands, both have to isometrically, meaning there's no length change, but it has to carry the weight into the shoulder girdle, which means your lats, your traps, your shoulder muscles, the delts, the core, everything has to do its part, even the hamstrings down to your anterior compartment and posterior compartment of your calves, down to your feet, has to really elongate. And positionally, you're in an inverted position. So that axial elongation now changes. And so that shift and change neurologically with the head down, that creates another layer of complexity. You have to really understand where you're loading. When I really look at the inversions of yogis, the amount of force vector that is through gravitational pull, that is really carrying the weight of the inversions, is typically really, really shaky. And it's I can see the strain into their shoulders, especially in their neck. Especially for those who likes to do headstands, putting weight on the head, no matter what, you're going to play into compressing your cervical spine. There's implications for that, especially if you have a straight spine and you work in the computer all day and you go to inversion class, and when you do a headstand, that can be detrimental for the neck. Okay. And then core engagement is another piece of the puzzle. And then also finding your breath in the moment, and really, especially presence of just being in that moment and understanding that's the only moment and that's the experience that we're after when we practice yoga. So I want you to keep all that in mind, and I want to invite you, if you're interested in more and doing some classes with us, I have an online membership program that I provide safe yoga and my version of yoga online in different forms, utilizing my physical therapy and musculoskeletal and functional medical background, and of course my yoga and Pilates background, to bring you level up experience for you. And that can be the link below. And then we have a brick and mortar Alkaline Wellness Center in Suwanee, Georgia. If you're local to us, you can come and join our classes there and experience the difference. And we do have yoga certifications, and our next one starts soon. So I will also link the certification information below should you be interested in our program. And I just want to take the time to thank you for listening to my podcast. It matters a lot. I would love it if you can share this podcast with others, and also to subscribe to our channel. And please comment below and share your feedback and your thoughts. I love hearing from you. It really helps us to really reach more people, as well as to create more effective communication and information that you might benefit from. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys